Infectious mononucleosis is something that's going to present with pharyngitis and fever, all right, but more importantly, you're going to have more of lymphadenopathy and atypical lymphocytes circulating in the peripheral smear. So if you have these findings, then you can definitely call infectious mononucleosis because it's a very atypical presentation. So what are etiologies of infectious mononucleosis? People always think it's only about Epstein-Barr virus, but it's not only about Epstein-Barr virus. Even cytomegalovirus, sometimes HIV, toxoplasmosis, HHV6 and 7, all of them can result in infectious mononucleosis-like syndrome. It's all about having that atypical lymphocytes with lymphadenopathy along with fever and pharyngitis. That is basically an IM-like syndrome, and all of these viruses can produce a IM-like syndrome. And there are even some bacteria that can produce IM-like syndrome, even though that's not going to be common. So EBV is going to be transmitted saliva. That's why it is also called as the kissing disease. And 95% of the times in adults, you're going to have positivity for EBV serology, which means it's quite common in adults, distributed everywhere. And during the acute phase of the illness, you might encounter some complications. So during acute phase, what are going to be the complications? You can have splenic rupture, you can have encephalitis, you can have hemolytic anemia. And all right, so let me tell you, have you studied in your pathology? It's about something called as the anti-small I and anti-capital I antibodies. The small I is produced by Epstein-Barr virus. The capital I is produced by mycoplasma during your undergraduation time. So these are antibodies against your red cell antigens, anti-small I and anti-capital I antibodies. So they can result in a type of, especially as I said, this EBV is going to produce small I antibodies, that is the anti-small I antibody, and that's going to result in cold autoimmune hemolytic anemia, or otherwise called as cold agglutinin disease. So that is the reason why I've been mentioning this, isn't it? So it can produce hemolytic anemia. It's a very important manifestation of Epstein-Barr virus, and it can result in Guillain-Barré syndrome or neurological complication. It can cause mild transaminitis also. Investigation, you can do something called heterophile antibody testing, but I don't think in India right now we are performing that, even though it has a decent sensitivity, but we generally do antibodies. So what are heterophile antibodies? Antibodies produced by these polyclonal lymphocytes that are stimulated by Epstein-Barr virus can react with the RBCs or antigens of other species. These are called as heterophile antibodies, right? But we don't do that in practice, honestly speaking. And what we do right now is the viral capsid antigen related IgM. That's going to be kind of like Indian gold standard right now. So this is what we use to determine whether the patient is having an acute EBV infection or not. It's quite common in children though compared to adults, because adults will anyway have a positive serology in the form of IgG. They would have already been infected, but children and adolescents, that's where this virus is going to cause an acute infection most of the time. And what about cytomegalovirus infection? It's going to produce an IM-like syndrome, but it will be more milder in nature. You're going to have lesser lymphadenopathy, and hepatitis is more common with CMV compared to that of your Epstein-Barr virus. And most of the patients are going to have asymptomatic shedding for a long period of time. That's why the seroprevalence in the community is very high. And most of these infections are going to be subclinical, like 70-80% will be subclinical. So patients will not be even aware that they're getting infected. And HIV, very important cause, it can produce a mononucleosis-like syndrome with the mucocutaneous ulcers. That's why I told you, whenever somebody is coming with like mononuclear syndrome, atypical lymphocytes, lymphadenopathy, ulcers, especially in the mouth, like very, very important. Like HIV is such an important thing here. And toxoplasmosis is also going to present with fever, lymphadenopathy. And usually toxoplasma does not cause pharyngitis or hepatitis, but mostly they tend to come with fever, lymphadenopathy, that's it. And HHV6 and 7, so can produce mononucleosis-like syndromes, but they are not quite commonly going to present in this manner, but still possible. So whenever you have a mononucleosis-like syndrome, you think in terms of EBV, CMV, or probably HIV, especially if the patient is having severe pharyngitis and ulcers. And coming to management, it's going to be supportive, and you have to avoid contact sports to prevent splenic rupture. That's very important, because most of the time with regards to your Epstein-Barr virus infection, splenomegaly is quite common, and this spleen is prone for rupture. That is the reason why during that period of time when the patient is infected with acute Epstein-Barr virus infection, we tend to ask the patients to avoid contact sports so that you have to prevent that splenic rupture. So when you're going to screen for HIV, this is my pearl, because this is something I've seen left, right, and center in my practice. Whenever you have a mononucleosis-like syndrome, severe pharyngitis, mucocutaneous ulcer, young sexually active guy, always think in terms of HIV. You can pick up a lot of cases of acute retroviral syndrome.